around, we're joined by Tega as always. Hi, Tega.
Hi. Wow.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lagos.
After bashing Arsenal, or rather, Man U the other day, she's back.
Yeah.
Mm.
I didn't really bash.
One of the few times that you praise Arsenal.
Yeah.
Lagos, let's go through the stories together. But first, here's how you can reach us and send your messages.
You can send a message to WhatsApp. 0809 4440981 is the number. If you'd like to send us a tweet, please do so at Smooth981FM on Twitter and use the hashtag LockerRoom981. And we are also streaming live on YouTube. So look for us on YouTube, search box Smooth 981 Lagos, and you will find us there. We're also on Facebook, so like our page, some of our posts go up there as well. And very importantly, download our app because it can take us anywhere in the world. You know, we're there and it's clear, it's smooth, and it's perfect for you.
Awesome. Let's start with a story about Golden State Warriors. Their forward, Draymond Green, said he is not bothered by a video clip in which coach Steve Kerr appeared to express frustration towards him during Sunday night's home loss to the Phoenix Suns. He used some expletives in his expression, although the audio is unclear in the video, which went viral after the game. But Kerr appeared to say, "I'm so effing tired of the Draymond's ish. It doesn't bother me," Green said after Tuesday's practice. "Ish happens," he continues. "It is what it is. I'm sure there's plenty of times coaches are tired of players. There are times that players are tired of coaches. I do not take it personal. It is what it is." Green actually said he and Kerr didn't have to clear the air after the clip gained traction.
Yes. So this is another evidence of what's going on at the Golden State Warriors. It was, I would say, one of the most mercenary squad ever assembled, especially with the introduction of KD. But after, I mean, you look at the team and say, okay, that team will get you championships. But in recent time, the team has been falling at the seams, and there was a time when there was fatigue. There were times when the players were attacking each other, and now the coach is just tired of everybody. So it appears it's not a team that grew together. It was a team, they had a core that came up together, and then they had all these add-ons that are now making the team stretch at the seams, and it's not pleasant to watch sometimes. Draymond Green is one of the guys that has been at the core. I mean, he had that fight with Kevin Durant where he told him, "You know, you don't belong here." That one I liked. And now he has this thing where he's not delivering, and he's never really been the most disciplined of players.
Yeah.
But when they're winning, especially during the playoffs, he has a way of tailoring his excesses to be positives. But some nights, like in the loss against the Phoenix Suns, you just see how his immaturity pops up once in a while. And Steve Kerr is one of those most disciplined people you would see in basketball. Okay. So he's not even about that business. But it's how would I take Draymond Green out of this squad? Who would I replace him with? Why should I do it now in the middle of the season? There's all that issue with the front office going on. And so at the end of the day, I don't think that this team is going to last 2 more seasons.
Wow.
No.
With the way they're behaving.
With the way they're looking at each other. Some people are already on the bus.
All right, so not likely to be there at the end of the season. We will be looking very closely, and I'm sure Tega will be updating us on the stories. Now, Djokovic, Osaka, Halep all ousted at Indian Wells. Some tennis news this morning. It was a tough day for seeded players at the BNP Bypass Open yesterday, with Novak Djokovic and Naomi Osaka, the world's top-ranked players, ushered out in the desert. Djokovic and Philipp Kohlschreiber resumed their third-round match that was suspended because of rain a night earlier. The unseeded German knocked off the 5-time tournament champion 6-4, 6-4. Osaka lost to Belinda Bencic 6-3, 6-1 in just over an hour in the fourth round. In women's fourth-round matches, number 2, Simona Halep lost to Marketa Vondrousova 6-2, 3-6, 6-2. Vondrousova had this to say. She joked in an on-court interview, "I was running a lot. I felt like I was dying for a moment. I'm so happy to be through and so happy with my play."
Yes. Look, for Simona Halep is just ridiculous that most of the strength in her game is usually in her stamina and her powerful serves or ground strokes. But when she meets a player that matches her power for power, stamina for stamina, she just crumbles. There's no extra. That's the thing about her. There's no X factor that elevates her. And for a player that was ranked world number 1 and then won her first Grand Slam last year, you look at her and say, there's promise, but she's so easily beatable on a regular day. And this is an unseeded player, mind you, that is beating unseeded 19-year-old that's beating Simona Halep. And all the girl did was just last long. That's all the girl did. She just stayed in the fight, stayed in the rallies. And Simona Halep, there's no X. You're playing with some people sometimes and say, okay, you know what, I'm struggling from the baseline. Let me try and mix it up a little. Simona Halep is one way. Very predictable, quite consistent, but predictable. And so that's what makes her beatable. And that's why it's very disappointing to see the way she gets dumped out of tournaments. On the other hand, with Naomi Osaka, I don't know what she's going to say this time, whether they were looking at her again. But Belinda Bencic has been having a good year so far, from when she won with Roger Federer earlier this season, to last week's tournament, and then to this one where she's knocking out big players. But Osaka couldn't find anything, and Osaka is the kind of person that if she's struggling with her serves, at least she'll find a way to stay in the rallies. She couldn't return, she wasn't serving well, everything was going awry. And then you add the fact that she's just trying to work her way around with a new coach. And maybe there are all the other distractions, because, people think it's just getting to number 1 is a hard part. No, it's staying there, because you get to world number 1 and there's all these mega distractions. And now she's on the cover of this magazine and she has to do this interview and she has to do that promo and she has to be here. And then you now have a target mark on your back. Everybody that plays you brings their A game. Like, you don't have any weak moment. So I think that's what she's grappling with. Eventually she'll find her feet, but it's something that she ultimately needs to deal with. Good news is that she's struggling in 500 and 1000 Masters. Maybe at the Grand Slam, French Open, she'll probably back to her main self. But it's a struggle she has to deal with. But for Novak Djokovic, I don't know what happened to him. I think if they played the day before, as they're supposed to play, maybe he would have won. But yesterday he just looked off. And I knew there was nothing wrong with him physically, because immediately after he loses in the singles, 30 or about 45 minutes later, he was playing in doubles with Fabio Fognini in the quarterfinals, and they won their match.
Look at that.
And he was the leader between the duo that helped them to win that. So you know that he wasn't struggling physically. You know that there was nothing wrong with his health. But during the game, he just seemed a pace slower and a fraction. I mean, he shot to a fraction too long. And Cole Schreiber put on his best display. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but it's what was looking like it was going to be a Federer and Djokovic final. May not be. But Federer and Nadal are in the same. If they're going to play together, they're going to meet in semi-finals. So that's just sad that the final will be Federer or Nadal and some random person.
So we won't have the opportunity to see Federer, Nadal.
No, not final. Not final.
Recall how we're speculative about Zizou.
Uh-huh.
So the Bernabeu is getting interesting now, as Zinedine Zidane says he's very, very happy actually to be home after returning as Real Madrid manager just 10 months after leaving the Spanish Giants. Zidane was officially unveiled in a ceremony on Monday and said, "I want to put this club back where it belongs. It has been difficult from the outside looking in."
Stop it.
Shade. I've been living here in Madrid doing my things, but I've recharged my batteries. I'm ready to coach this great club again.
So he gets the first phone call and he says, "I'm not coming back." These are reports, by the way. And then he gets second phone call, and that's all it took for him to come back. But he was promised, I heard,
They called the right amount.
by a man. No. By a man who has broken his promise several times. But he was promised by Fiorentino Perez that he will have absolute control over the players. I laughed in French when I heard that. That he was going to get the money he needed to spend to get the players he needed. He was going to decide which players were going to be bought. He was going to decide which players he was going to sell. He was going to decide everything about the squad. So they're giving him an unprecedented control of players.
Tega,
That's what he said.
Do you think Eden Hazard will be back now that Zizou is back?
I think Zizou can get any player he wants because most players want to play for Zizou.
Yes.
And especially with his track record when he was coaching. Here is what I think the problem will be. That the guy that has told you that I'll give you full control will wake up in the morning and leave one of his favorite toys for you to play with.
Wow.
No, but Tega, don't you think that they're quite desperate at the moment? They haven't done so well.
They are desperate at the moment, so they've promised him everything.
Full control.
And then he's back.
Ronaldo.
And then you expect that Fiorentino Perez will just wake up one day and just leave everything to him. I don't trust Fiorentino Perez. He's that kind of guy that can wake up in the morning and say and change his mind.
But you know how we always talk about football as being unpredictable.
Anything can happen.
That is right. We're going to take a break, Lagos. You're listening to The Locker Room here on Smooth 98.1.
This is IBK, aka Spaceship. You're tuned into
Tissue, please.
radio station. Love music.
I told you there's no physical difference.
What's that?
There's no what?
He's asking me if there's a difference between iPhone X and XS.
Why they took pictures?
No, I told him physical difference, I don't know, but technical features, there are clear marked differences in picture quality, pixelation, everything. Home screen, all those things. Externally, you're right. Identical, but different color variations for XS.
That's just one. The rose gold, I think that's just one.
Yeah, color variations, home screen.
Are you
Camera aperture,
serious?
I don't know that you would see the camera aperture.
It's way better.
Of course not. That goes without saying. But yeah. Is that the new phone you want to get?
I was just checking it.
It's too much money. Hi.
I was just checking it out. I agree.
Even if someone gave me the X now, I'm going to sell it.
You know,
I'm
right?
telling you. I'll just call Femi. Femi, help me sell this phone and give me the change. I have too many things that I'm. Fede? I'm going to have to
Glaucoma week is 10th to 16th of March, yeah? Glaucoma week 10th to 16th.
Yeah, I think said this week.
10th to 16th, okay.
There is such a day as Intellectual Property Day.
International what?
Intellectual Property Day.
Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is such a day.
Yeah.
You guys don't have work in this world. You don't have work in this world.
To said
When
day.
there's such a day as World Sleep Day, which is on Friday.
There's such a day as World Plantain Day.
I don't know. There's anything.
Dodo Day.
There's anything.
You guys
There's one
need to-
Jollof Rice Day.
Yeah, see the liner I talk about. The Muhammad Ali liner.
Okay.
Well, I would say a great.
Oh, nice one for sport.
Would have to be born.
Would you like to be president?
No, sir. Too dangerous. Black men have been males now. One might be the president. Brothers are in too much trouble. I don't want that job now.
Well, I worry more about airplanes than I do boxing.
I never worry about the fight. I worry about the flight. And I can't find nothing around to last over.
Hello,
8 hours.
YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tega, say hi to your
for
fans.
watching. Thank you for watching.
People stop putting me under pressure. I'm sleeping.
Can they see her?
Yeah, I
Can you check
checked.
the thing? Okay.
You can see.
I don't even
Top is
care.
up.
Alright.
Okay, your face is covered.
Mics are up. Studios live. Muhammad Ali, the greatest ever. Lagos, we're back on the sports stories, actually, on the locker room here on Smooth Breakfast with Ayo.
And Valentine.
And Tega Supreme is live and ready to analyze the rest of the stories.
All right, I have to take this comment here before I take this next story. Isaac from Ikeja says, we are waiting for Tega to start hailing Ronaldo. We are listening. All right, let's see if your fears will be confirmed. Juventus forward produces another iconic Champions League display. Cristiano Ronaldo suggested Juventus brought him to the club, in quote, to help do things they have never done before. After his hat-trick heroics sent them to the Champions League last 8. Ronaldo's treble brought Juventus back from a 2-0 aggregate deficit against Atletico Madrid on yesterday night in Turin, again, going through 3-2 on aggregate. Now, he said, this was why Juventus brought me here, to help do things that they've never done before. This is the mentality you need to win in the Champions League. I just do my work and I'm very happy tonight. It was a magical night. Atletico are always difficult to face, but we are also strong and we proved it. Tega?
Here, so this is what I was talking about on Monday. If you fail in the Champions League, you have failed. All that nonsense was saying Champions League doesn't determine, absolute rubbish. From the minute they got on the pitch, you could tell that championship was the beginning and end of their validity as champions.
Wow.
And I would say this for Cristiano Ronaldo and Juventus, but especially Cristiano Ronaldo, because he took it upon himself personally to get here. From the blast of the whistle, he came out to attack. You could tell that he was hunting for goals. As early as the 4th minute, he was already causing a disturbance that if I were Diego Simeone or an Atletico Madrid, I should if I wasn't aware of what to do, I would have read the script from the 4th minute. So Juventus did all they needed to do to get here. They bought Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo got on the pitch and pushed for the win, and he got them the win. On the other hand, I'd say this, not to take away anything from Juventus, but Atletico Madrid and Diego Simeone failed woefully. Now, I totally understand that you're the away team and you have to set up in a way that is quite defensive. There's a difference in setting up defensively and rolling over for them to ride over you. You come into a game, especially, I'm looking at them, especially in the first half. I mean, you see times when they had ball possession, and they didn't want to make any forward movement to lose the ball possession. So no throwing of the ball into the 18-yard box, even if you have someone like Morata who likes to head the ball. Antoine Griezmann barely was in the 18-yard box, even when they had the ball in and around the 18-yard box. Because sometimes, for some reason, they decided that it was better to have possession and take away the ball from Juventus than to try and push for a goal. And so you play like that in first half, and I think, okay, second half, they will come out differently. Second half, they kick off the game and then they fall back into the position of sitting back. You cannot sit back for 90 minutes against a home team that is determined to score and not expect to get goals. And a lot of people have been talking about how Atletico Madrid has such a wonderful defensive lineup. That was 3 seasons ago. Even Leganes in the in the La Liga have scored goals against them. So for me, their defense haven't been so solid it hasn't been so solid for a while, but maybe in this season, because of the group they were in, they didn't concede that many goals. So when you count the numbers, you say they're stingy defense. But if you look at the opposition or the quality of the opposition they played in the group stages, is not as testing for you to say, oh, this is a very strong defense. And so again, like Diego Simeone said after the match, well, hindsight is 2020. And he says, I made so many mistakes. We shouldn't have sat so deep. We should have come out differently. They expected you to sit deep and soak in the pressure. And they played based on that. You should have shocked them, especially in the second half. Once in a while, just press higher. Push them. And you will get a goal. Chesney didn't even need to play yesterday. He could have been on the bench. In fact, he could have been at home in bed, and Juventus would still have conceded the goal. That's how little Atletico Madrid attacked their goal post. So yes, it was a fantastic night for Juventus. They completely pushed and they took advantage of what Atletico Madrid did. But I think it happened more because Atletico Madrid dropped the ball.
Okay.
I mean, I'm speechless.
I'm just so sorry. I just feel so sorry. So sorry for Atletico Madrid fans.
And you went in deep, Tega. All right. Chima Nancy says, good morning. Now that Zidane has gone back to Madrid, we at Chelsea will have to start planning Hazard's farewell party to Madrid. This is just why I'm not happy about Zidane's return to Madrid. Now, MI from Akoka says, in the round of 16, the qualification of the old lady in the Champions League rests on the shoulders of one man. His name, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Dun, dun, dun.
Your MCM, that's Man Question Monday, might be the GOAT, but my O is the Asun of football.
Wow.
Are you not entertained? Isn't that what you're here?
Are you not entertained? Let's move on to this next story now about Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp. He said it is mad to suggest the Champions League exits could help Liverpool's bid for first domestic title in 29 years. Now, Bayern hosts Liverpool in the second leg of the Champions League last 16 tie tonight, with the contest delicately poised after the goalless first leg at Anfield a fortnight ago. Here's what Klopp said. I do not think any other coach has to answer this question. It only happens if you're a Liverpool manager and the pundits come from Manchester United. I'm not angry about it. It's just so mad that I constantly get confronted by it. It's
No,
dumb.
but he's wrong. Those postulations are always going to come. The question is, if you lose tonight, would you be able to focus all your energy on chasing the EPL? The answer is you could. But he's just upset that they're asking him the questions now, and I don't think. I hate to say that Bayern Munich would have the advantage. I think both of them have clear advantage to go. In fact, I think Liverpool more so because they don't have any away goal to try and cancel out. It was goalless. So Bayern is one way, I think, more of the job because they absolutely have to win. And that's where the problem is, especially with the Bayern side that have not been so full, haven't put forward a great performance this season under Niko Kovac. So it can be tricky. But he has to answer these questions. These questions they'll ask any manager. So he should calm down. It's not because it was it's not because it was Gary Neville that was or Rio Ferdinand that was on the panel. He should calm down. But it's interesting. He has a good team, and he got a fantastic win on Saturday. Was it Saturday or Sunday now? Sunday. And it wasn't just a win. There were times during the game that they were playing smooth football, and there were times during the game they had to grind. So they've shown that they're fighters and they're also fluid. So he's covered all his bases. All he needs to go right now is to go to Germany and put the pressure on Bayern Munich where it belongs. From the get-go, don't play away team Atletico Madrid. Get pressed from the get-go before they even blink and kick the ball. Just be on them. And so I guess he knows what he needs to do. Just try and get that early goal, and you can just set the cat among the pigeons, and that's what he's going to have to do. So calm down.
I love all these phrases. I always watch out, honestly. I always watch out for them. Now the next story is last night they spelt a name. Man City cruise into Champions League quarters. Manchester City cruised into the Champions League quarterfinals as an emphatic 7-0 second leg victory over Shaka. So then progressed 10-2 on aggregate. Just to put that, they spelled Shaka, by the way. Sergio Aguero atoned for missing an early sitter with 2 first-half goals. The first of which was a Panenka penalty before Leroy Osane put the tie beyond his former club with City's third before the interval. Yeah,
it's crazy that you beat a team by 7-0 and you're not the headlines, but that's what Juventus and Cristiano Ronaldo can do to you. I mean, a lot of people did not even know that Manchester City was playing yesterday. That's not, nobody really thought about it. The focus was really on Juventus, Atletico Madrid, but Manchester City have slowly and surely, and I understand that maybe because it was expected, they do this, but this was the Champions League knockout stages that somebody considered 7 goals, regardless of who is of the team that is playing against. It's such a big deal. And there's some teams that were knocked out in the group stage that wouldn't have considered 7 goals. So it's just not righteous. But what it is I think Manchester City is the only team that went into the second leg. So far, of all the games that have been played, I think Manchester City is the only team that went into the second leg with an advantage and came out victorious. Everybody else that had an advantage lost and went home. Manchester City is the only team that just stood strong and said, we will not perish like those of PSG and Atletico Madrid. And so Pep Guardiola is he knows that he may not be the strongest team, but he's trying to build that winning mentality, because sometimes when you have great results like this and when you have a momentum of winning, it can affect the way you view yourself and you approach matches, as opposed to when you have, a bit of inconsistency. So yes, it looked like he was always certain he was going to go through, but he did the job. 7-0 is not easy. And he didn't have a lot of some of his good players. Kevin De Bruyne did not play. Aguero, he took him out after a while. He was like, you need to rest. Yeah. Chill.
Very confident there. Lagos, we'll take a break. We'll be back to read your messages and take some of, if we can squeeze in a story or two. This is The Locker Room. It's part of Smooth Breakfast with Ayo
and Valentine.
Stay with us.
We have a lot of comments actually.
Yes, we need to.
We need to do the Barcelona match first.
Okay.
And then we can do the. I was worried when I was not hearing comments in between. I was like, is that the?
There are many comments.
We need to breeze through them.
Let me just do the because they are playing today too.
Okay.
Barcelona against who?
Leon,
Leon.
no
Who's going to
advantage,
win?
1-1. Who cares? It's UEFA Champions
No,
League. I don't
because
even know.
this Champions League, as in the unlikely people, the underdog have been the ones winning. So it's
Oh well, the people at a disadvantage. I don't even want to call it underdog
Like-
because I don't think PSG. I don't think
no, but
PSG.
PSG against who? Against
Manchester United. I don't think PSG were the under. I don't think Manchester United were the underdogs. Before then,
compared to PSG though.
no, I'd already said that PSG will choke. It's not a question of how big the club they're chokers. In fact, from the day the time the draws were made, I tweeted it first. Manchester United will make it, and that time it was Jose Mourinho that was coach, and the players were not even playing for him. PSG they are chokers.
So who do you think? Who looks like they're going to win this?
Champions League?
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody looks
You
like
don't
it.
always know.
You can never know which.
No, but which? Okay, so who would you put your money on? At least two teams.
I can never put my money on anybody in Champions League. The thing about Champions League is 5 different leagues are coming to play against each other. So there's no pattern.
Yeah.
It's 5 strangers in one room. Anything can happen. So
I always forget. I look so silly on YouTube.
you look so silly.
Yeah, I'll be doing my nail hair. I'll be playing with something. While Valentine looks serious, looking at the laptop, meet I'm going to look serious.
You'll be all right. Last.
Guess what? There's audio, so they know.
Guys, sorry, did you hear
Sorry
that?
for what?
Did you hear that? I'm serious.
That's part of the entertainment.
I am
That's
not-
part of the reality
Like,
TV.
please, where's my book, please? I'm a very serious.
Please bring her
human being.
gently chase. You know, this was a bulky.
So, Dr. Modupe Olawale invites
Oh,
President of
shit.
the Biological Society of Nigeria, Lagos State branch. Guys, hi. I'm just so sorry. I can't attend to you guys. I'm so busy right now.
You thought, okay, though?
I'm not seeing anything.
See the drama.
Messages, man.
Yeah, I know. She said one story. Barcelona.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do Barcelona before messages?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so we'll finish.
There's so many things about Lagos that were exciting and disgusting. I know my Lagos because of food. Yeah, believe it or not, food. I love the beat Lagos gives to you on the Monday morning. You feel there's a need to hustle. I love the relaxation it gives you. Understand?
All right, guys, we're back. Studio, mics are up. If you just got into town, welcome to our wonderful metropolis. This is Lagos, and this is the home of the Locker Room 981 as a part of Smooth Breakfast with Ayo.
And Valentine.
And we have Tega Supreme doing analysis, analyzing the stories this morning. Let's talk about Barcelona's coach, his statement, Ernesto Valverde. He said that there will be extra worry of Olympic Lyonnais in that's today's Champions League last 16 return after Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain suffered shock exits following second leg turnarounds. His statement, as he addressed a news conference yesterday, Valverde said, the fact that teams like Real Madrid and PSG have been knocked out is important, and we'll have to be wary of that in the game, and we're not underestimating Lyon. Tega?
Yes, and it's absolutely right, especially as they didn't get a very comforting result from France. It was a 1-1 draw. And so all Lyon needs to do is hold them to a goalless draw and they're out. So he understands more than ever how important it is. And again, it's kind of mentality you'd have expected Diego Simeone to have. People scored 2 away goals and still crashed out. You scored 2 home goals and imagine that you can come and defend for 90 minutes. See your eye. Anyways, so Valverde is quite prepared, but Barcelona again for me hasn't been the most solid of teams. So I don't know how this night is going to be. I guess because it's Camp Nou, they would try to do their thing and try to get Messi on the ball and try to get a few goals. But if you ask me, when I'm looking at teams that can they go all the way, is this team solid enough to win this championship? Barcelona doesn't exactly help give me that confidence that I'll say, oh, this team can win and then I go to bed. No, I'll always have to put an eye on it. So I guess they're taking it game by game and are putting importance on each game as they go. So I think today they'll try to do the business, but like Valverde says, they have to be careful.
All right. Let's take your messages on WhatsApp very quickly. This one is from Rainmaker. Rainmaker says, you people that keep saying Hazard will move to Bernabeu because Zizou is back should understand that Hala Galactica do not need a player that cannot score 25 goals in a season. If Zizou's plan is to get an attacking Hazard alone, I think he will not do well. The Belgian should stay with his sorry ball. Madrid deserves better.
Yes, indeed.
Wow.
Now, Shay here says Ronaldo is definitely the world's best. Ronaldo is wicked, but Man City is more wickeded. Most Man City spell Shaka, Kilo De. Tega, please help me call Abramovich to send Sari to his village. I beg you. I hope Jurgen Klopp won't flop to do.
Chinwe Nancy here says Ronaldo is such an exceptional player. He's pure class. For the Manchester City game, was that a practice game? I pray they give them a tougher opponent in the next round. And that is as much as we can take about your messages or with your messages. Special thanks to everyone who joined in on the program. And special thanks to Tega for the analysis of these stories. Please follow the conversation as she brings up the latest happening in sports at LIS International at Tega Supreme. But in 14 minutes for Lagos Talks 981, we have a special today.
Yes, we do. This week is Glaucoma Week.
Yes.
Now we will be talking in depth about this, and we have a specialist who will be joining us in the show for this conversation. Now, don't forget, Lagos Talks 981 is about you calling in, so you get the opportunity to ask questions and contribute to the conversation this morning.
Do you understand?